Hi guys, today we're going to look at the circles and the tangents to a circle, which is a different exam question. So we're going to work through some examples. Always the best if we look at an example. Just remember, when you redo the example, you do it on a clean sheet of paper. You do not look at any answer first and see if you can remember the methods and the steps that I'm going to explain to you now. So let's see what we've got. Determine the equations of the tangents. So we know tangents are straight lines. So in my mind, I need to know the formula y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Or if you use the other one, y is equal to mx plus c. Good. What is the tangents? And this is the circle here. And both of those lines are parallel to this line. Now I'm going to do just that. Because the only reason they give you this equation is to tell you that your tangents are parallel to this one. And you remember parallel, the m's are the same. So immediately I know my tangents m's are going to be half. So that's the only way that I'm going to use this formula in. So I'm only circling the m. You don't look at any of the rest of the equation. Now I've drawn a sketch here so you can see the y-intercept is approximately 1. You do not have to draw the sketch because you do not really know where this circle is lying. Although if you look at the center, let's just see if you can remember where to get the center. The center you get there from x minus a square and y minus b square. And remember, if you've got y minus 1 is equal to 0, then it will give you y is equal to plus 1. So I know there is the center of my circle. So you could have drawn a rough sketch there, just to give you an idea what we're working with. Good. Now, when I want to use that line y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1, I need a point and I need the gradient. If you look at what we've got now, I've got the gradient. I've got the gradient, which is a half. I'm going to just put a little t there because that is going to be the gradient of both my tangents because they said they are parallel to this line here, and that line there is a half gradient. Good, but now I'm looking for a point and I do not have any point. The only point I possibly can get is that point A and that point B because they are touching the circle. But now I do not have any information on the tangent. So the only thing I can do, and remember that is what we always do when we work with tangents, we work with the radius and the tangent because the radius and the tangent are perpendicular to one another. So if I have the tangent, I can find the radius. If I have the radius, I can find the tangent because I know they are perpendicular to one another. So what information do I have on the radius? I've got that point there. It's 0 and 1. So at least I've got a point. And I do know that these lines are perpendicular. So I do know that the gradients are inverses of one another. The one is a plus and the one is a minus. So let's see. If I write down my formula, which is always this formula, this is the one I prefer. Remember, you can also use y is equal to mx plus c. So let's see what we've got. I've got the point, y minus 1. Now, what will my m be? Remember, I've got this m here. This m there is the line that is parallel to the tangent. But I'm now looking at the radius, which is perpendicular. So I need to flip around the half, which gives me 2. And I need to change its sign. So it's minus 2. And the other part of my point, x minus 0. There's the point that I used. And now if I just simplify it, I get y is equal to minus 2x plus 1. Good. And if you look at your radius, here's your radius. It has got a minus gradient because it goes down. It does touch the y-axis there. So the y-intercept is plus 1. So now I found my equation of my radius. Now what can I do with that? I can take the radius and the circle where they touch here at point A and they touch at point B. And I can put them equal to one another. I can do simultaneous equations. So let's do that on the new page. Just remember, I found now y is equal to minus 2x plus 1. Be very careful that you do not use this equation. This equation was just there for you to find the gradient, which I'm going to use later on again. But here I only want the gradient. I don't want anything else. So now I've got this equation here, and I've got this equation there, and I need to do simultaneous equations. I can't equate them because the one has got squares in the other one not. So all I can do is to substitute. And because y is nicely here all on its own, I can now rewrite this equation. X squared plus, instead of y, I'm going to write minus 2x plus 1 minus 1. The square is still there. The 80 is still there. If I simplify this, it's going to give me x squared minus 2x. Remember that, let's just keep it in a bracket. Minus 2x squared is equal to 80, because remember, there's still a square on the outside there. The one's cancelled. So it gives me x squared plus 4x squared is equal to 80. And that gives me 5x squared is equal to 80. And that gives me x squared is equal to 16. But now I do not like that we just go further and just square it, because you remember when one square roots, you forget to put the plus or minus in the front. So I prefer, if you see an x squared, to rather just bring the 16 over. Make sure you have a 0 there, because then we can factorize. And I know x times x, and I know 4 times 4 is 16. And because it's the difference between two squares, one is a plus and one is a minus. So there I found x is equal to minus 4, or I found x is equal to 4. And if we just quickly go back to our sketch, that could be, the a could be the minus 4, the b could be the plus 4. So it seems that I'm right. I can just carry on with my sum. But remember, if I have only the x, I still need a y, because remember, I'm looking for a point. So I still need the y. So I'm just going to take the easy equation, minus 2x plus 1, and I'm going to do it here as well, minus 2x plus 1. But now I found the x to be minus 4 and 4. So y is equal to 8 plus 1, which is 9. Y is equal to minus 8 plus 1, which is minus 7. So let's just see. If I have the point minus 4 and 9, and that was point A, and if I have the other point, which was 4 and minus 7, we're quickly going to go back to the sketch. Is it possible that I can have a 9 there? Yes. Is it possible that I can have a minus 7 here at the B? Yes. Remember, that is why if you draw your sketch, you can always go back and check and see if your answer is possible. Now I've got 2 points, but that is not what they asked. They asked me to find the equations of the tangents. So now I still need to go and find my equation. Y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Now I'm first going to do the one at A, because remember, now we've got the point A, we've got the gradient, and that's all I need. So I'm just going to do a substitution sum, y minus y1. I'm going to just put brackets first. You remember, we always put empty brackets, and then we substitute in. So let's see the point. I'm going to use this point A. So the y will be 9, the x will be minus 4. And let's just make very sure you know what the gradient should be, because I've got 2 gradients on this page now. I've got the minus 2 gradient, and I've got the half gradient. Remember what they said? Let's get back to the sketch. This line here is parallel to the 2 tangents. So that gradient that I've got here is the gradient that my tangent is going to have as well. So I'm not going to use the minus 2. I'm going to use the half. Why did I need this equation? I needed to find the point A. So that's the only reason why I needed to find the equation of the radius. So if I simplify this, y is equal to a half x plus 2 plus 9, and that would give me a half x plus 11, which seems possible. If you go back to the previous sketch, you'll see it's possible that you are now higher than 9, so the y-intercept will be 11. So if we do exactly the same for B, it will still be y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. But remember, now we're going to use the point B. So now I'm going to do y minus 7. The m is still a half, and x minus 4. So if I simplify this, it's a half x minus 2. I bring the 7 over, a half x minus 9. Let's quickly go back. If I go back to my sketch, I can see that it's possible there to have a minus y-intercept. It's possible there to have an 11 intercept. So my answers look proper and good. And I think I've answered the question. What they asked me only to find the equations of the 2 tangents. Good. So whenever they ask tangent, you make sure that you write down this formula. And for this formula, you need a gradient and a point. And if you don't have any one of the 2, you use the information that they gave you, and you make sure that you can find that. Good. I'm taking off the answer. because as always, you need to go and redo this all on your own. After you've done it all on your own, you can just go to the formal answer that is written out here neatly. Everything that I've done now is written out neatly. There's your 2 points, and you can just pause the video and you can just look at it carefully. There's the 2 equations that we just now found. Good. Let's do another example. Now, this is a more complete example. This is like an exam question. In an exam, they will not only ask you one question. They will ask you one set of graphs, either circle and a tangent or whatever graphs they want. And then they'll ask you lots of questions on it, like this one. So let's see. They give you a straight line, and they give you a circle, and they say they cut at P and Q. Now, I'm not going to draw this one. Let's just answer the question, because to draw it, it's a formal, we have to really go and find intercepts and everything. The only thing I can know, just very roughly, is that my circle is going like that. The origin is the center of my circle, because there's no x minus a, there's no y minus b, so the origin is just going to be the center of my circle. Good. The first one is to calculate the coordinates of P and Q. Now let's just see what P and Q are. It's the straight line that cuts the circle. So let's just do it on a page here. If I have my circle and I have the equation of my straight line and I know they are intersecting at points, I can just equate them. But because there are squares in again, I'll rather just take the y that is all alone there, and I'll substitute it into x squared plus y squared is equal to 20. Because remember, if I do substitution, I put it in an empty bracket. So what is the y actually? It's x plus 2. Now, it's a lot of algebra, so I need to now be able to square x squared plus 4x plus 4. And I'm going to bring the 20 over. Because remember what I always say, the minute you see there's an x squared on your sum, you want a 0 on the one side. Because then you know you're going to be able to factorize. So let's just add the like terms. X squared plus x squared is 2x squared plus 4x. 4 minus 20 is minus 16. I don't like all of those 2's, so I'm just going to divide by 2 all over, just to make your equation smaller. You don't have to, but it's much easier if you can make your equation as small as possible, because now we can easily see this can factorize. I know the one bracket needs to be a plus and the other one a minus. It's definitely x times x. 4 times 2 is 8. But because I want a plus in the middle, I put the 4 with the plus and the 2 with the minus. So x is equal to minus 4, or x is equal to 2. The minute I've got x values, I still need the y value, because remember, all points on a Cartesian plane consist of an x and a y. And you always use the easiest equation, which is this one. Y is equal to x plus 2. And you do it again here. Y is equal to x plus 2. But because you've got the x's now, you can just fill it in there. So it's minus 2. And then you can just put your point. It's minus 4 and minus 2. So that is the point P. And the other one is 4. So that point Q is x is 2 and y is 4. And the minute I've got the 2 points, I can hopefully answer the rest of the questions, because they only ask you the points here so that they can go to the rest of the questions where they now ask you the length of PQ. So it's a lot of, you can see it's actually a lot of revision. The length, the next one is the midpoint. It's all stuff that you've done long ago, and that is what they do when they ask a proper question. They incorporate all elder stuff that you've learned into what you're busy with now, and then it's a proper exam question. So if you can go home or can go and do this all on your own and be able to do it, you will be fine with circles and tangents, because there can't be anything more difficult than this. Number 2, determine the length. Now we know length is PQ. It's a square root. And it's actually Pythagoras. You remember, it's x squared plus y squared. But to find the x, I need to find the difference between the two x's. And to find the y, I need to find the difference between the two y's. And you remember last time I said it's easier if I say x of p minus x of q squared plus y of p minus y of q squared. Make sure your square root is over the whole thing, because the whole thing is needs to be square rooted. Good. If I now substitute, x of p is minus 4 minus x of q is 2. Can you see the empty brackets? I do empty brackets first. Y of p is minus 2 minus y of q is 4. They still, though, do not forget the squares. A very common mistake is that you forget the squares as you go along with the sum. So make sure minus 4 minus 2 is minus 6 square. Minus 2 minus 4 is minus 6 square. So just by accident, 36 plus 36, it's not always like this, is the square root of 72. And if you now click on your calculator, it depends. If they say the length, square root 72, it's giving you different answers. It gives you 6 square root 2, or if you press the ST button, it gives you 8.5. You must give the answer that is logical. If you give the answer 6 square root 2, it doesn't really tell you how long a line is. So in this case, because they ask you a specific question, how long is this line? It would be better if you just give the answer 8.5. And if they said it was meters or units or whatever, you can put that with. But it's a more logical answer to just say now, PQ is then 8.5 units. Good. The next one, they ask you the midpoint. Now, the midpoint is a very easy little formula. You remember midpoint, we use a capital letter, otherwise it looks like gradient. Midpoint of a sum is if you add the two x's, x of p plus x of q, and you divide it by 2. You do the same, y of p plus y of q, you divide it by 2, and that should give you the midpoint. So let's just see. X of p is minus 4 plus 2 over 2. The y's is minus 2 plus 4 over 2, and that gives you minus 1, and that gives you plus 1. 4 minus 2 is 2 over 2 is plus 1, so that is the midpoint of your line. Good. As you can see, it's old work that we've done previously in analytical geometry, but that is what we do, especially when we ask questions on circles. There's not a lot that we can ask on circles, so we incorporate other questions. Here is now a very, very nice question. If O is the center of the circle, we know that O is the center of the circle, 0, 0, because remember we drew it quickly in the beginning. There was nothing to subtract from the x or the y in your circle formula. It was just x squared plus y squared is r squared. So I know O, oopsie, let's just get back. I know this O is the center of my circle, and that's why I can put the coordinate OO there. Good. They say if O is the center, show that. Now I'm going to put a question mark there. Remember, show that means you must do your own little sum, and in the end, you must tell, therefore, I found that PQ is perpendicular onto OM. But how does one know that lines are perpendicular? You remember this little sketch? You know it by the gradients. The one gradient is going up, a positive. The one gradient is going down, a negative. So one needs to be a plus, one needs to be a minus, and the values are inverses of one another. So if I can find the gradient of PQ, and if I can find the gradient of OM, and I can compare them, I will check if they are inverses of one another, and if one is a plus and one is minus. And you remember the formal formula means if I can prove that M1 times M2 is equal to minus 1, then I've proven what they asked me. Good, but that means I need the two M's. Now, M gradient is again Y2. Let's do it properly. YP minus YQ over XP minus XQ. If I fill it in, empty brackets, all over empty brackets, Y of P is minus 2, minus y of q is 4, x is minus 4 and 2. It gives me minus 6 over minus 6, which is 1. Let's do this one. It's y of O minus y of M over x of O minus x of M. Empty brackets, make sure that because the minuses will not be good if you don't have your empty brackets. 0 minus 1. This is 0 minus minus 1. And this gives me minus 1 over plus 1, which is minus 1. So now I'm going to test. I'm going to use the gradient of PQ, and I'm going to times it with the gradient of OM, and I'm going to check if it does give me that equation there on the top, if it does give me minus 1. So this gradient was 1, this gradient was minus 1. If I multiply them, they give me that, and now I can say PQ is perpendicular onto OM. So just remember, whenever they ask a question, you must immediately in your mind have, what are they actually asking me? If they ask about perpendicular, they're asking me about the gradients. That's why I didn't think of anything else. I just needed to find the gradients. And I needed to make sure that I have the 2 points so that I can use this formula and that formula in order to get my gradient. And there I've proven what they asked me. Good. The last question. Determine the equation of the tangent at P. Now remember, if we do a tangent, it's always the line that only touches the circle. I already have the point P. Let's write down my formula, because if I've written down the formula, I can easily see what I need. You remember, I like to do this. The X and the Y is the point. Oh, I've got that. The gradient, I do not have the gradient yet, or do I? Let's go back. Remember, we did the gradient of OM. You remember OM was my radius, because O was the center of my circle. So I already here have the gradient of my radius. I do not want the gradient of my radius for my equation. I wanted to see what the gradient of my tangent will be, because remember what they do? Radius and tangent are perpendicular. So if the gradient here is minus 1, then the tangent's gradient will be plus 1, because you'll flip around the 1, which just stays 1, and you'll change the sign. So it will just be plus 1. And if I fill that in, y minus minus 2, be very careful. If you do not use your empty brackets, you're not going to get the right answer. Gradient is 1, x minus x1 is minus 4. And if I do take away my brackets, I get x plus 4. And if I take it over, 4 plus 2 is plus 6. And there is the equation of my tangent. Good. So you'll see in every slide, we do exactly the same type of thing. We use the formula y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1 for a line. If it's a tangent or just a normal line or for radius, doesn't matter. We use the gradient formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 for the gradient. And if it's a length, you know the length formula, if it's a midpoint. So we've actually covered a lot of analytical problems as well in this circle question. Good. As you're always going to do, you're going to redo it on your own. After you've done it, you can check, and all the answers will be, you can just pause it, you can look at each answer, and you will see that they're all there, and we've answered everything that they asked. And that is approximately what you're going to get in an exam. Lots of questions which is incorporated with the circle and its tangent. Not difficult at all. Go and redo it on your own. Make sure you can do it on your own first, and then you check the answers. Good luck with that. See you next time.